Hi guys, I'm back again with some more stories for you today. Let's go to the first one, about OP's stepmother, who always tried to put OP and her stepsister at competition, and how they both tried to ruin OP's wedding. Listen to the end of the story to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. So I, 25 female, got recently married to my husband, 27 male. We didn't have a very big event, but everything was beautiful and just how I envisioned it, except we had a pretty major problem. My dad, 54 male, got married to his now wife, 48 female, years back when my mom had passed away. Me and his wife had never gotten along because no matter what I did, she would always put me and her daughter, Lucy, 21 female, at competition. Example: if Lucy had a band concert while I had a basketball game, my dad's wife would always pressure my dad to ignore my events and go to Lucy's instead. This caused a lot of fighting in me and Lucy's relationship. As soon as I turned 18, I moved out to go live with my now husband, so I wouldn't have to deal with those two anymore. Well, when I told my dad that I was engaged, I started receiving calls and texts from his wife and daughter, basically telling me, "Oh, we want this color theme," or Lucy telling me she wanted a certain color of bridesmaids' dresses because she also wanted to look good at my wedding. This is when me and my husband started spending more time with them because they kept nagging us to take them everywhere if it had to do with wedding planning. This is when I started noticing that Lucy had become very flirty with my husband, and he always seemed uncomfortable. I tried to confront her gently about this, but all she did was deny. Now, when I told Lucy that she was not going to be a bridesmaid and that she would just be a regular guest at my wedding, she flipped out and called me jealous and insecure because I apparently didn't want her to outshine me because she would obviously look better than me at my own wedding if she was standing next to me. She cried to my dad and his wife, and I constantly got calls from my dad's wife angrily yelling at me to let Lucy be a bridesmaid and asking if I don't want a sisterly relationship with her. This is when I snapped and told them they can either be guests or uninvited to the wedding, so that shut them up about that. But I would still get snarky comments here and there. Fast forward to the day of my wedding. In the middle of my dad giving a speech, I notice his wife and Lucy giggling and getting up to use the bathroom. About halfway through my dad's speech, she and Lucy come out of the bathroom smiling ear to ear, wearing long white extravagant dresses. Everyone was shocked, and I felt the anger in me rise. They had the audacity to come up to me and say, "Sorry, we spilled wine on our dresses and had to change. Hope you don't mind." Lucy went up to my husband and literally told him in front of me that if things don't work out between him and I, that she was available. My husband instantly pushed her away and told her to get away from him. Lucy looked so embarrassed, but that didn't stop me from yelling at her and her mom to get the duck out of my wedding and never contact me again. This is when my dad said not to be so harsh on them and that they had to change because they weren't going to walk around in stained dresses. This is when I started yelling at him too and reminding him of all the times he took their side instead of mine. All three of them were kicked out, and now I'm receiving messages from my side of the family saying I overreacted and that my dad was right about the fact that they shouldn't have to walk around in stained dresses and that I'm an a-hole who took things too far by kicking them out. But my husband's side is saying that I was completely in the right and they were out of line. But I'm torn. I don't know. Maybe I did take things too far by kicking them out. Am I the a-hole? There's a certain point in life where you have to stop listening to what other people say and trust your own sense of right and wrong. The simple, sad fact is that most people don't have the stones to stand up to people who don't treat them right. So I think well done for OP for standing up for herself and not letting her family treat her with disrespect. Looks like OP's father has clearly made his choice, and it's not OP. That's a hard thing to make peace with. So best thing for OP is to go no contact with all of them. Let's see if the community agrees with me. Faye68 says, "Not the a-hole. Sounds like they spilled wine on purpose. Time to go no contact with all three of them." Georgia JL38 says, "Not the a-hole. Who brings a change of clothes to someone else's wedding? No one. Give me a break. This was entirely planned out in advance. Your stepsister propositioned your brand new husband in front of you. That's disgusting. I'm proud of you though. You just threw them out. I would have thrown a punch." As for the rest of the fam saying you overreacted, Ask which of them would have had no reaction at all to this blatant act of disrespect. Which of those women would have just let them swan around the remainder of their wedding receptions in white gowns? Which of them would have been okay with stepsis propositioning their groom right in front of them? Then delete, block, and ignore the entire trashy crowd of them. My son was dating Sabrina. They started in high school and broke up when they were in college. It was a long relationship, and I became really close to her. She is in my eyes our daughter. Her family are awful people, and she sees us as her parental figures. She even is planning to have my husband walk her down the aisle when she gets married. Now, when they broke up, relationship just died. We didn't drop her since she is our kid at this point. My son wasn't happy but moved on, so she gets invited to family events and has for years. My son, now 27, is married to Bethany, and she's a nice person. We never clicked. We don't have much in common, and they live 2 hours away, so it's hard to plan stuff to get to know her more. Really, I'm sure it will grow in time. Now, we had a picnic and all the family members were invited. So Sabrina was there as normal, and I thought the night was nice. Bethany came up to me at the end of the night and expressed that she is uncomfortable with her husband's ex being everywhere, and if I couldn't invite her for family stuff. I told her no, and that Sabrina is part of the family, and has been part of the family longer than she has. If there is an actual valid reason, like her being rude, then I would consider it, but she's done nothing. She left, and my son has called me an a-hole for picking her over my now real family. Am I the a-hole? My husband thinks she is crazy, but I know we can be biased. Well, I guess you can guess my opinion about this one already, guys. As I said before, I don't understand such close relationships with your kid's ex. OP's behavior is very disrespectful towards her son's wife and his marriage. This is a great way to make OP's son slowly start cutting her out of his life. So OP needs to try and build a relationship with his son's wife. Otherwise, it won't end well. Let's hear if the community agrees with me. Lost All Doubt 86 says, no a-holes. You think of Sabrina as your own child. She's invited to things because you became her surrogate family. Bethany is not an a-hole for being upset that someone her husband once loved is invited to all your family events. I would also be upset if my husband's ex was accepted into his family while I am still struggling to feel like part of the family. Crystal Queen 3000 says, you're the a-hole. She's not your daughter, she's your son's ex. And it's weird as hell to keep inviting her to family events when your son has moved on and married. It was extra rude to be so dismissive and nasty to Bethany when she was trying to open up about how uncomfortable she is. If you want to be friends with his ex, then do it when they're not around. OK Weird 9186 says, my family is in a similar situation, but in our case, I'm Bethany. I have never and will never ask my mother-in-law to stop seeing our version of Sabrina. I understand that they have a bond, and it means a lot to them to see each other on holidays. But we deliberately don't see mother-in-law very often anymore. Every time we are around, at group events, or just us visits, my mother-in-law brings up how amazing his ex is. She tells anyone who will listen that she wishes her son and his ex had worked things out because she doesn't like me as much. Bethany will never forget your blatant favoritism. Your son will never forget it either. I'm not saying that Sabrina needs to be uninvited to events. I'm saying you need to put in more effort to make Bethany feel like her emotions matter to you at all. Edit. I will make this clear. She may not be my kid by blood, but everything else she is my daughter, and has been for about 10 years. Also, Sabrina is engaged, so no, she doesn't want to get back with my son. And I don't want them to either. Yes, I have invited Bethany to do stuff with me. It's always been a no. If I am the a-hole, then I'm the a-hole, and I'm standing by it. I won't disown Sabrina by disinviting her to family events, because that is exactly what I will be saying. I will be saying I don't see her as family if I disinvite her to family events she has gone to for about 10 years. This is asking me to choose between two children. I will not disown one. My brother went no contact with my mom because she wanted to bring a friend as her +1 to my brother's wedding, but his now wife told her no, it was a couples only. Mom was hurt. Now, I don't know the full details because I wasn't there when it all went down. But from what I heard, all three of them said some very cruel crap to each other, and it got extremely heated, to the point my brother told my mom she wasn't invited to the wedding, or she wouldn't meet their unborn child till she apologized to his wife. Then to add insult to injury, they had Dad's new wife, who he cheated on mom with, by the way, take over the mother of the groom role. Well, it's been 4 years. Bro has 2 kids and another on the way, but mom has never apologized nor spoken to my brother. I've never heard her even mention them or acknowledge when their names come up in conversation. I won't paint my mom as an angel, because she's not, but realistically, they could have let her bring her best friend, who he has known his whole life, for moral support. My brother held himself a 30th birthday last week, and at the end of the night, when he was drunk, he confessed he missed our mom, and he's hurt she doesn't acknowledge his kids. My older sister asked did he ever try to reach out, to which he said no, he won't until she apologized. So I shrugged and said mom also deserves an apology off him, because they were both at each other with the names. Even his wife said nasty stuff, all because she wanted a +1. He tried to say it was his wedding, his choice. Then I told him, well, you've made your bed, you can lay in it. Next morning, my sister-in-law rings me screaming that I had no business sticking my nose in, and my mother is a terrible mother, grandmother, for cutting them completely off for not getting her way. She went on to say my brother is extremely depressed about the whole situation, especially since my sister's kids always talk about how great grandma is. She then said if I didn't smooth everything over with my brother, they'd be going low contact till I change my behavior. I said okay then, go low contact, to which she screamed something I couldn't understand, then hung up. Brother hasn't reached out, but my sister said he's extremely upset I'd easily throw him and his kids away like mom did. I know it was none of my business, but realistically, he did bring it up. I don't think OP is in the wrong here. If sister-in-law continues to do this, OP's brother might have to go no contact with a lot of people from his side. Next one might be their sister, who her daughter has a good relationship with grandma. I understand it's OP's brother's wedding, and he can decide who he wants there or not. But it would have been nice though. It was cruel to shove it in her face by having her ex-husband's affair partner take up her role at the wedding. It's entirely selfish and completely lacking in empathy for them to think that they don't owe OP's mother an apology. And now let's hear the community's opinion. M. Montez says, your sister-in-law sounds like a piece of something. I think your mom asking for a +1 for moral support was completely reasonable. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. A simple request about a wedding invitation got blown out of proportion. Everyone behaved less than admirably. Your brother and his wife don't care if they are right. They care if they are in control of a situation and its narrative. Your mother has no intention of apologizing and has respected their wishes. It sounds like she's the only person who isn't causing a fuss. She's made her peace with the situation and has behaved appropriately in this situation. If it upsets your brother and makes his wife fly off the handle, oh well, careful what you wish for, as the saying goes. Special Attitude says, not the a-hole. Your brother and his wife sound manipulative. They hold the children over your and your mother's heads like a bargaining chip. They choose to live this way and will soon find that they are all alone once they alienate everyone. My cousin had his wedding yesterday. I'm not that close to him, but we are friendly when we see each other. Our parents are really close. At first, my parents were the ones invited to the wedding, but because of their health conditions, they couldn't risk driving 5 hours in the summer. Public transport was not the option, since it would take a minimum of 8 hours. After talking it over with him, their invite was transferred to me, so I, 25 male, can go as the family representative. Since I was going, I contributed to the gift €600, plus some really expensive glasses and bottle. I booked a hotel room for 2 nights, took a day of work, and drove to the capital Friday morning. I also wanted to go sightseeing. Yesterday I went to the church an hour before the ceremony, normal in case they need help. If not, you stay out of their way, and congratulated my cousin's parents. I was talking with other relatives when the first started. Some woman was calling another woman a W, and they were screaming at each other. They were pulled apart. Then this drunken guy, 40s I think, came and overturned a candle holder. 2M, large, made out of metal. And then the bride came to fight with a girl wearing a white dress. It might have been a wedding dress, but it looked like my grandmother's curtains. The ceremony went well, I think, but then came the time for photos. The wife was shouting at everyone, having them do different poses and randomly switching family members. Every family was supposed to take a picture with the couple. I ended up in the picture with a family from her side, I believe. It got annoying at that point. While everybody was getting ready to drive to the park for the next photo shoot, I found a cousin I'm close with and asked him if he could drop off the money and present, because I was tired. He agreed. After most people left, I loaded the box in his car and then drove off. I changed clothes and visited some museums, and I spent the night reading in the bathtub while eating Chinese food. I looked at my Facebook today, and I was bombarded with messages for ruining the wedding. Apparently, I was seen leaving the gift with my cousin, and many relatives decided to do the same, so around 25 people didn't show up. Then, when the bride insulted the last living grandma in the family, the youngest of my grandma's siblings, 91, because she gifted them a 40-year-old tea set, unused, that wasn't on the list, most of the remaining relatives left. I don't think it's my fault. I congratulated them and left them the gift they wanted, plus money, and it's not like I told people to leave or made a scene. Am I the a-hole for leaving early and causing other people to start leaving? Oh no, Sand People says. The guests didn't leave because of you. They left because the wedding was a crap show, not the a-hole. Melvin Eats Mango says, not the a-hole. You did the rest of those family members a favor by giving them the idea of giving the gift, then leaving. And if so many other people left afterwards, it's for a reason. That marriage sounds like it won't last long. Urban Yeti Zero says, not the a-hole. Sounds like you're taking the brunt for their terrible wedding. You're not responsible for their friends or your family's choice to copy you.